It is Monday, November 28th, 2022. The local shepherd and sheep flock at the Episcopalian that I've been going to under Zion has changed. It's no longer using the Pentecost method um, or way of explaining this area of solar system and calendars that be. Um, I woke this morning under this symbol, or at least that's what's being displayed as the highest in this area. And thinking to myself about the hummingbird. I searched for an image of the hummingbird. Disney came up with one. I tried to stay within that princess storyline since they've gotten the Alice character and falling down this rabbit hole of never knowing what you're walking into as a singular woman in this modern whatever is going on, and how to try to stay and maintain one's own innocence as the walls of common law and accessories after the fact close in around you. And yet you're the same one who is a way, grew up Glenway. There's some Yellowstone reference that they know how they tried to protect me. And then there's this alternating force of, because I feel in my own self-defense that 1976 and 1975 are accessories of common law pushed and forced upon me. I believe the hummingbird that referred to me as a flower once upon a respectful meeting in one of the most powerful conversations I've ever had at the time with someone who I found incredibly admirable. I told him as such. But again, I am not numb to the fact that there are a lot of mouths to feed amongst the common law accessories after the fact. I am humbly respectful and trying to convey whatever it is here that I have discovered in having to reach out into the common law pool of whatever after multiple decades of being harmed by these accessories after the fact that plague me and follow me. So in knowing that there's a hummingbird, and a very powerful hummingbird, for which 1976 and 1975 did not produce the two very specific, they did not have a hummingbird. In fact, if there was a conversation of the flower addressing the hummingbird and the raccoon, the 1976 and 1975 would look more like the raccoon in this situation if the almighty powerful hummingbird was there. Who knows who the flower he spoke with was. And there's this very interesting scene that Disney has portrayed of the raccoon and the hummingbird looking at each other and then looking out into the distance of nobody knows what, should the flower ever call out for help. Now, the humans and their human intelligence have just recently alerted me that in the New York area, in their common law schematic of language and linguistics that have transpired, there is a church that goes by the name of Abyssian. It had Calvin's, which is a measurable black hole reference for me. I use it for vision in the gas in the eye in an oil immersion high science that I don't really speak with anyone ever about, but they use that measurable science word is Kelvins. In depths of black holes, that's the word that they have alerted me that they speak about. So that's the, but then they use this name, Dr. Calvin Butts. Now, throughout my days, just like, are you ragging on me? I've heard, is that the butt of jokes? Are you the butt of a joke? Because in common law, that seems to be very dangerous, knowing what the new shepherd looks like and some of the flocks of sheep. I've also noticed this, I've used this word, it feels like I've fallen into the crevasse or the abyss of some sort in New York. Again, as Alice in Wonderland, and respectfully, humbly, just trying to advise on my own behalf the hummingbird, since the raccoons cause some problems that now might have some after effect of, amongst the common law confusion, looking like accessories after the fact, which in fact is just between me and the hummingbird as a respectful flower, not knowing what flower the hummingbird feeds off of. I am sure I'm just in the garden at this point. I am just a flower, knowing that my father has a red beard and has committed to wearing a red beard his entire life until it turned white. I am his daughter, his only daughter. And that has power with horseshoes on an escalator. Just saying. In explaining what is going on with common law in New York. And with the headlines. So there's this Dr. Calvin Butts. That name I did not know until just recently when he passed away. They said he is the Absintinian, like, but it's spelled the Abyss. James Cameron made a movie about the Abyss, just for the admirables, and an ocean full of nothingness when there is one submarine that goes down into the depths of Tiefennacht or into the whatever. There is nothing else there. Just one submarine or one underwater rover of some sort. So they have alerted me about this Absintinian. Then, of course, there's this absentee landlord. I know there's a good Lord somewhere. I am just amongst his shepherds and flock, and there's some common law misconceptions, some way that they've painted accessories into my living arrangements, for which, just being 1976 and 1975, not to rile up any other sort of argument and flare up any kind of inflammation. Again, it is just what holds up the night sky. Well, I'm not quite sure, being a flower in the garden, but I know at one point there are people who know about the men with red beards and the daughters of men with red beards, and about this whole conversation about hungry children everywhere and the fathers of the daughters with red beards will not be disrespected. Not by common law, not by any law. So it is confusing how continuously, when it comes to a season of having children and being a daughter of someone with a red beard who made the commitment to wear that his entire life in this area, and to follow the advice or whatever that was given to him to keep his daughter safe amongst this level of accessories after the fact. It is quite unclear in this modern age how to stay safe, how to remain integrity intact, and how to alert a hummingbird as a flower that has not seen a hummingbird in, I mean, it is a famine in this area. Um, so I am just unclear how to respectfully speak as one horse on an escalator who is stuck in some garden for which she really just really misses having a hummingbird just buzzing around. It seems, however, in this local area of Shepherds and the Abyss, the measurable Calvins, the fortunate that have prospered way beyond expectations off of the hurting of my season, and then therefore carrying forward butts of jokes, tons of musical melodies, artistic displays of artificial intelligence with some form of campaigns that go on in some masquerade for some greater circus. Um, Doing my own avant garde work of guarding my own self integrity amongst this plethora of problematic common accessories after the fact. Um, I'm not sure where private equity and public utility are on this level of emergency management and disaster story. I didn't want to be seen as such, but the circumstances are whatever they are at what seems to be growing and what seems to be either a wallflower or a shrinking violet. I'm not quite sure, but it is the season, so here we are at shrinking violets. Not that I want to be the cause of such, however. I attended the shepherd's flock looking for human intelligence, knowing what I see on artificial intelligence, and knowing I'm just a pinhead in between. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. I do hear the mindless, however. I mean, I've never used, I've never had to, I've never been in a situation where I had to know the clear definition of being the butt of a joke. In fact, if anybody had ever said it in front of me, I'm like, could you just explain that? Because I've heard it before from other humans, or, I mean, again, whether it be artificial intelligence on their visual reality, or whether it's been in the rumor mill of the common law accessories after the fact, as they grow more fortunate and I more lost in this wonderland of abysmal intelligence, it feels. Um, so I'm looking for signs of life, and it is really frightfully quiet for other pinheads. In fact, I say consistently that my number one problem with 1975 is that he's an insult to my intelligence. That's how I refer to him. Always have, always will. He is not an enhancement of my intelligence. He is rather an insult to Hummingbird himself and to my flower. So I am not clear why accessories and accessories after the fact, no matter how common law paints any portrayal, why it was ever allowed. why it was ever continued, and why it seems to be a problem over the last few decades that I've had to suffer under, but can't seem to communicate properly amongst my own kind, considering that they seem to be either deaf in the field, mindless in the field, or just simply don't care. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.